What's up, Drift Wizards? It's the Rift Mage. I'm revisiting the 1989 Silvia K that I did a couple of weeks ago, just to kind of see how it's still holding up now that I've done a lot more builds in Forza Horizon 6. I'm going to go through the tuning on this car and how we set it up, and then we're just going to take it out and have a little bit of fun. Today's video is going to be pretty short and sweet, or at least I'm expecting it to be. I'm constantly making new drift builds and testing them out on stream here and on Twitch. If you'd like to follow along, make sure you like and subscribe and enjoy the video. Alright, so we are on the exact same tune from the last video where we featured this car. I'm going to just kind of flip through the pages so you can see how we set it up. I'm not necessarily going to comment on everything, but I might explain a couple of the things that I did do. I have some videos that are a little bit longer explaining how I go about the entire tuning process if you are interested in how I go about it. So with tire pressure, usually I make the rears a little bit softer just so I have a little bit more control with the throttle, a little more grip. The gearing I keep, it depends on the car's horsepower. I go off of the top speed. Usually cars that are around 450 horse, I gear quite a bit higher, which usually brings my top speed around 130 to 150. It really depends. Once we start pushing above 600 horsepower for different class builds, we'll tune, you know, quite a bit lower, and we just want third gear to feel good. That's kind of my whole thought process behind it. Here was the alignment that we settled on, which made the car feel nice and stable. Same thing for the anti-roll bars. The rears I almost always make a little bit softer, let the car flex a little bit more, helps me feel the weight of the car shift. There's our spring settings, damping settings, aero, brakes, almost always biasing the brakes forward, anywhere from around 65 to 75%. I find that this lets me very, very lightly ride the brakes while drifting to just slow the car down and maybe ever so slightly help tuck the nose into the turn. I back off the braking force pressure for the exact same reason. I don't want to add too much brake accidentally, so this just gives me a little bit of mercy. On this particular car, we locked up the differential on the acceleration and deceleration. Some cars, if they feel a little too twitchy when you're transitioning from one direction to another direction, there's a couple of things that could influence that, but one of them could be on deceleration, which is when you're lifting off the throttle. It's keeping your tires locked if we're at 100%, which is going to want to correct the car straight very quickly because the tires are not allowed to rotate at different speeds. So if we back up off this anywhere from around maybe 60 to 95, it really depends, you're going to allow the inside tire in the turn to spin a little bit slower than the outside tire, and it might help with that if that's a problem that you've been facing. So without further ado, we haven't adjusted anything. We're just going to take the car out and give it a try. We're at one of my favorite spots, the warehouse at the docks. I'm just going to get sideways and see how the car feels. I have been doing some content over in Pt2, so I'm a little bit more used to the drifting physics in that game, so it's going to take me a second to kind of readjust to Forza, but hopefully it won't be too bad. Whee! Yeah, this car already feels just like I remember. It's a ton of fun. It's definitely taken me a minute to get used to the way cars move around in Forza again. Tell you, there's a lot of finesse work in drifting, and it's hard when you're going between games. None of them feel quite the same. I went back to Assetto Corsa for an afternoon the other day, and I went from, oh god, linking 40 or 50 laps to being able to barely get one lap done. It's just very different. I don't know if anybody else feels that. I'm sure you do. Well, just like I remember, this car is a joy to drift around in. Hopefully you like the explanation of the tuning options on there so you can try to rebuild cars like this one. And I do have other videos explaining how I go about the tuning process in Horizon 6 if you do want a more in-depth breakdown. If you like the video, guys, if you like this car again, I'm refeaturing it. I'm going to get the share code up on screen here in just a minute. And then please don't forget to like and subscribe and stay tuned for the next drift build coming up.